Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk. Ich bin in Toronto, März 2019, und ich habe jetzt eine ganz basic Visitenkarte, habt ihr das noch nie gesehen, Spacefy, Ross Patterson, er ist CEO, und er wird uns die Company kurz einmal vorstellen. Ross, thank you to have time. I say this in my German tax, it's a really fancy card. What does it mean? Has this something to do also with your business? So why you come up with this?
The idea with the card is that any space can be a creative space, and so you're looking through your own space as if through a viewfinder when you look through the business card, and you can see the opportunity maybe to unlock some extra revenue or cash from your property.
Okay, so that sounds really interesting, but what does this really mean? What is the business concept of your business?
Spacefy is, in a nutshell, it's like AirBnB for creative spaces. We want to be the launch pad for creative projects, and the way that we're leaning into that is by providing an assortment, a really inspiring inventory of all different types of properties that people can rent by the hour or by the day. Everything from private homes, spectacular mansions, to businesses, warehouses, hidden spaces. We have laundromats, coffee shops, all kinds of places. So the idea is, if you were an art director perhaps, or a location manager for a film shoot, you're a YouTuber who's looking for a place to shoot something, or you need to do a photography shoot for the fashion industry, or hold a private event or corporate event, rather than just having the traditional range of spaces to consider, your hotel boardrooms and what have you. We offer a range of kind of the unexpected and unconventional spaces. And the way the business works is the space owners can list on our platform for free. It's very easy to do. They provide a few photos and a description. And then we bring space owners to our site, or we bring creatives to our site, and they look for properties that they're interested in, and they can negotiate and book right through the platform, and then pay right through the platform. And we take a 7.5% share from the buyer side of the transaction, and 7.5% from the space owners side of the transaction.
So that's the explanation of Airbnb is really a good one. Then it's exactly what they, so. But that's mean also you must, or you build or you create your revenue on a daily basis. Is it, or then normally it's not so often that somebody book a space for 3 months or something, so maybe more on a daily basis.
Yeah, so we're hourly even. I think the average duration is more like 2 or 3 hours right now, but we've had typically the early adopters have been creatives, film producers, film shoots. There's everything from student films to large productions. There was an HBO production that spent a couple weeks, I think, in one of our in this beautiful mansion. It's one of our properties. So it's more short term that we're focused on, and I think in the grander vision is to take this basic idea of starting with locations, and to provide the sort of people, places, and things that you might need to create something. So it could be a production, it could be a music show that you want to put on in your living room, booking your own artists, or it might be an event. We want to provide the how-to information and the resources to make that very easy for people to do. So right now it's all around space rentals, and that's where our revenue comes from initially. But if you think about the filmmakers as a vertical, for example, we're hearing from them that getting permits is a point of irritation for them. So this might be a service that we can provide for them in a shopping cart. We might be able to offer them, through partnerships, the ability to book the cleaners, the painters, the paid duty policemen, the caterers, if that's helpful to them, and so they can kind of have a one-stop shop for setting up the locations for their production. And similarly for somebody who's doing a corporate event, we could provide services.
Okay, so that, for example, a company say, okay, we have a special event, our 20th anniversary and so on, and we want to do something special. So maybe you coming up with a great place you can do it, and then maybe what they can do on this event too. So some maybe artists or they do something and so on, and catering and everything, and provide the whole stuff. So this is one of the plans where your company go.
Yeah, the idea is to use these properties, this unique range of properties. We see that as our competitive strength versus our competitors, the range of properties and how we're able to onboard them and expand very quickly on that side. I think leading with that inventory, we will just find the plan is to find where the needs are and find ways to make the customer experience feel like magic. So they came to get a property, and that's cool, but that's not a cutting edge experience. It's sort of what you expect from a web-based experience. But seeing that you could book the paid duty policeman and get the city permits for the party that you want to throw, or certain unexpected things like that, those should be quite easy for us to do, even if we're not first party for those services, by just bringing together different companies and contractors. And so that's the idea. And then we're focused mostly in North America right now. We've been building up our spaces in different cities. You really need to have a fairly large range before you've got an offering. My background is at eBay. I spent 15 years in senior roles at eBay Canada, and I know that back at eBay, we sold a lot of iPads and things like that, but we needed that long tail inventory, that breadth, that rich selection to bring people in for that unique inventory, and then they would buy the typical everyday things. So we think that's the leading edge, and so we're building out sort of secondary cities in North America, Chicago, Vancouver, different locations, LA. For now, we feel like we have critical mass here in Toronto, which is our home base, and in New York, which is a very short flight or a very long drive from here across the border. And so we're starting to test the waters with doing a little more marketing, focusing on creatives in these two centers now, to see what we can learn more about how we can lean in and help them. And then from there, we hope to expand out to Europe.
No, I understand this the core business, so it's very interesting, and it's going. There's a very broad area. Then in the beginning, I was a little bit skeptical, I must say, when I have only this properties where I lend to other ones. But when I do this surrounding stuff, I think that the key is this surrounding stuff to can. For filming or something, and can provide them the permits, there may be some actor and so on. Then it's really a huge area what you can do, or some events from for companies and so on. But coming now more to the financial side. In Q3 you will set up or you will go online with the platform. So then you have enough confidence what really the people want. Is this the right explanation?
Yeah, I think that's right. We have a platform now. It's a prototype, but it's not really ready for scale. It's working, but we want to have something more flexible moving forward. And so that's going to launch in Q3, and then we're already tipping our toes in the water with targeting people on social media and doing some community outreach with the communities that we're interested in, like the creative community in Toronto and New York, sort of build our brand a little bit. And I think, exactly by the later part of this year, we'll be up to 10,000 spaces. We'll be ready to market in more cities than just Toronto and New York. We'll have a good idea of what our cost of acquisition is and how that model works, requiring the creatives, and a better idea of what our revenue run rate looks like for the base business, and then where the opportunities are to bolt on through partnership. So we're talking to some partners now, but we'll know which ones to emphasize and what's important. And so I think 2019 is the year where we hone the business model now, from the strength that we have from the inventory we've built out and the organic adoption, which is really feels validating, right? And we're not marketing very hard, and people are finding the site and booking. And particularly interesting that so many of them turned out to be filmmakers, which wasn't necessarily, we thought we might get more event planners, and that so many of them are actually individuals that just wanted a unique space to have an anniversary party or something. These weren't people that we had front of mind at all. So it's quite exciting to think that this business could actually spread out in quite a number of different directions from just that early adopting. We've got to figure out which ones to lean into now.
The shareholder structure is very interesting for me. So what this means for me is are there any big groups involved, so that the biggest shareholders of your company are you and the management, or how it looks like a little bit where are the biggest player in the company?
Well, the early rounds of financing, the company was helped out by a company called SB2, and the leading player there is a well-known Canadian investor named G. Scott Patterson. He's the largest shareholder still to this point, and so it's been very helpful to have him around as an advisor in those early days. He's been involved with a lot of small cap companies over the years, and now we've been telling this story. I've been doing it since I came aboard in January and hitting the pavement, and I'm having sit downs like this with people, getting to meet investors and institutional investors and brokers, and we're seeing a lot more far-flung interest now. So the volume has been more than I expected, I think, for a small company, and it's been heartening to see a lot of European investors.
It's an interesting thing. So, and Europe is a good thing. Do you think also that sometimes you switch over to Europe?
Yeah, I think so. French is the next language that we need that just domestically in Canada to get out to our.
So not German.
German is the one after that. I think a few of our German investors have reached out to us and said that there's a real opportunity there. And I know from my eBay background that what's involved in launching and scaling into other countries. I think the business model lends itself to scaling out in a thoughtful way. As long as we can find ways to run it at a sort of a relatively low cost, low touch overhead, we should be able to expand and take our place, our natural place, to help build creative communities and help them do interesting things. As early as maybe even as a stretch later 2019, but more realistically probably 2020.
Okay. Ross, thank you for the first introduction to your company. Next time when I come over, maybe we have time to make an update on it. Then we see it's going forward, how it looks like now. Is the website, the new website online, and what is your first feedback also from the and it's interesting for me to in which direction it's running. For me, was one thinking is for sure that all the filming industry is very interesting for them. Then they are looking always for nice locations, and also the event planners. That's really an interesting space. Thank you for the first introduction. Das war ein ganz was anderes als was wir in Toronto gewohnt sind, weil normalerweise sind wir hier in Toronto für Rohstoffaktien und nicht für kreative Ansätze. Was macht die Company? Und das sieht man hier schon an der Visitenkarten, die ist wirklich witzig. Sie sozusagen will ein Marktplatz werden für Kreative. Das heißt, Airbnb kennen wir, buchen wir auch selber ja schon, wo es eine Plattform ist, wo man ja sein Hotelzimmer, sein Apartment buchen kann, wollen Sie quasi Orte vermitteln an Eventmanager, Filmemacher, Kreative sozusagen, die einen speziellen Ort suchen. Ob das jetzt ein Café ist oder ob das jetzt eine große Villa ist oder was auch immer, es muss irgendwas Spezielles sein. Und sozusagen kann man dann durch die Webseite durchsurfen, sucht sich das aus, kann das dann für ein paar Stunden buchen, für Tage buchen oder Wochen buchen. Und da war ich am Anfang ein bisschen skeptisch bezüglich des Modells, weil das ist zwar super, aber es ist ein Tagesbusiness. Das heißt, wenn das für ein paar Stunden durchschnittlich gebucht wird, dann ist das echt ein Problem. Es ist allerdings so, dass das macht sehr viel Sinn, wenn man nämlich dann die rundherum Services dazu rechnet. Das heißt, wenn das jetzt ein Filmteam ist, dann braucht es Genehmigungen, dann braucht dementsprechend Leute, die da auch dementsprechend das machen, dann braucht es Catering dazu und da verdienen es dementsprechend dran. Selber ist es so, dass sie 15% von diesen Dingen nehmen. Und mittlerweile haben wir auch herausgefunden, wie viele Aktien das draußen sind. Es sind ungefähr 45 Millionen Aktien draußen. Das entspricht ungefähr dann einer Marktkapitalisierung, glaube ich, von 15 Millionen. Das ist oder macht es relativ billig noch, sage ich mal. Sie wollen sich konzentrieren auf Toronto und New York einstweilen, weil dort haben sie eigentlich die meisten Locations und die meisten Insider auch bei den Kreativen. Und für sie ist natürlich so wichtig, dass man mal in das Business reinkommt, lernt, was will der Konsument überhaupt. Also sie waren relativ überrascht, dass die sehr viele Filmemacher da haben, der die Locations suchen und weniger diese Events. Da müssen sie noch dran arbeiten sozusagen. Sie haben eigentlich erwartet, dass mehr die Eventmanager, die auf diese Seite abfahren. Es sind sehr viele Filmleute, die jetzt scheinbar darauf abfahren. Und das ist eigentlich das Spannende dran. Das war es eigentlich von Spacefy, Host Patterson im März 2019, Toronto. Thank you.
Thank you.